What if the Amazon's biggest predator wasn't what you thought? What if it didn't run, and you only realized you were being hunted when it was too late? There is a snake so gigantic that it can swallow an entire alligator. Right now, as you watch this video, hundreds of them are hunting in the dark waters of the rainforest. Today, you will meet the silent giant that dominates the most dangerous waters on the planet. If you're already curious about this topic, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for even more surprising facts. Imagine the murky water of an Amazonian creek. The heat is stifling. The forest breathes around you with sounds you've never heard before. You see nothing but submerged branches and distorted reflections on the surface. But something is watching you. Something 9 meters long and 250 kilograms of pure muscle. The green anaconda, scientifically known as Eunectes murinus, is the heaviest snake in the world. Not the longest, but definitely the most massive. And it has chosen to live where few predators can dominate, underwater. Unlike the snakes we know, the anaconda spends up to 90% of its life submerged. Its eyes and nostrils are located on top of its head like a crocodile, allowing it to breathe while the rest of its body remains completely invisible. It doesn't need to surface to breathe frequently. It can remain submerged for more than 10 minutes, completely motionless, waiting. Their preferred habitats are the swamps of the Brazilian Pantanal, the slow-moving streams of the Amazon, and the dark water rivers of Venezuela and Colombia, places where dense vegetation meets still water, where visibility is almost zero, where every move could be their last. The anaconda has developed special sensors in its skin that detect the slightest vibrations in the water. A fish swimming 5 meters away, a capybara drinking water on the bank, a distracted alligator. It senses everything, and when it detects prey, something extraordinary happens. An anaconda's attack isn't what you imagine. There's no dramatic chase. There's no prolonged struggle. It's an explosion of speed followed by a never-ending grip. First, detection. The anaconda's sensors pick up irregular vibrations in the water. Something is moving, something big enough to be worth it. The snake doesn't move immediately. It waits, calculates, positions its body at a perfect angle. Then comes the approach. Undulating movements, almost imperceptible. The massive body glides through the water without producing a single wave. The prey remains oblivious, drinking water, eating, resting. It doesn't realize it's being watched by cold eyes that are only a centimeter above the surface. When the distance is minimal, usually less than 2 meters, the explosion occurs. The anaconda can accelerate from 0 to maximum speed in less than half a second. Its open mouth reveals dozens of teeth curved backward, but these teeth are not for killing, they are for holding. The impact is brutal. The jaws close on any accessible part of the victim's body. Neck, leg, torso, it doesn't matter. The goal isn't to bite deep, it's to prevent escape. And then, in less than 3 seconds, the anaconda's body begins to coil around the victim. Spiral after spiral, the snake's muscular body completely envelops its prey. And here's what many people don't understand. The anaconda doesn't crush its victim. It doesn't break bones. What it does is far more sophisticated and far more lethal. Each time the prey exhales, the anaconda squeezes a little tighter, just 1 centimeter, just the space the lung freed up. When the prey tries to inhale again, it can't. The squeeze is tighter, so it exhales again, a little less air this time, and the snake squeezes another centimeter. With each breath, the noose tightens. The victim's heart races, trying to compensate for the lack of oxygen. Blood pressure soars, but the blood cannot circulate. The arteries are constricted. The brain begins to receive less oxygen. Vision blurs. Movements become weaker. The anaconda has thermal sensors in its mouth that detect the hottest points on its prey's body: the heart, the lungs, and the major blood vessels. It adjusts its grip by focusing on these points. It's a perfectly calibrated killing machine. In less than 5 minutes, usually less, the prey loses consciousness. The heart continues beating for a few more moments, each time weaker, until it stops completely. Only then does the anaconda begin to loosen its grip. But it doesn't let go. It never lets go. It waits another 10-15 minutes, ensuring there are no more vital signs. The force exerted during constriction can reach 90 pounds per square inch. To give you an idea, that's 3 times the pressure of a strong human handshake, but applied to the victim's entire body at once. Muscles that evolved over millions of years to do exactly that, squeeze until life ceases. What does an anaconda eat? The short answer is almost anything that moves and fits in its mouth. And you'd be surprised how big the things are. The diet varies depending on the size of the snake. Young anacondas, less than 2 meters long, hunt fish, waterfowl, and small mammals. As they grow, their diet expands dramatically. Capybaras are frequent prey. These giant rodents can weigh up to 60 kilograms, but for an adult anaconda, they are just a substantial snack. Deer that venture near the water also feature on the menu. Alligators up to 2 meters long are regular prey. And here's something fascinating. The anaconda is one of the few animals that hunts alligators regularly. The fight between an anaconda and an alligator is one of nature's most brutal confrontations. The alligator has powerful jaws and a bite that can crush bones, but the anaconda has patience and technique. It attacks when the alligator is distracted, usually focusing on the neck or belly area, where the scale armor is weakest. Once the coiling begins, even the strongest alligator has little chance. There are documented reports of anacondas attacking small jaguars that came to drink water, wild boars, even small crocodiles. Basically, if you're near water and there's meat, it's on the menu. But what's most impressive isn't what they eat. It's how they process their meal. The anaconda's jaw dislocates, allowing it to open its mouth at an impossible angle. The skull bones are connected by elastic ligaments that stretch. What seems anatomically impossible becomes reality when you see an anaconda swallowing a capybara whole. The swallowing process can take hours. The snake uses muscular undulations to push its prey down its throat. There is no chewing. Everything goes down whole. And when we say whole, we mean literally whole. Fur, hooves, horns, everything. After a large meal, an anaconda can go months without eating again. Its metabolism slows down drastically. The body dedicates itself entirely to digestion. Extremely strong stomach acids dissolve bones, fur, everything. Only the toughest parts, such as horns or large hooves, are regurgitated weeks later. An adult anaconda can eat up to 40% of its own body weight at once. Imagine ingesting 100 kilograms of food in a single meal and not needing to eat again for 3 months. That's how they live. How does something the size of a lamppost disappear? That's one of the most fascinating questions about the anaconda. Camouflage begins with the skin. The pattern of olive green, brown, and black spots is not random. Each spot, each stripe was shaped by evolution to blend perfectly with the aquatic environments of the Amazon. When submerged, the anaconda becomes almost invisible. The submerged branches, the shadows cast by aquatic plants, the distorted reflections of light on the water, all of this blends into the pattern of the snake's skin, and she knows it. Her behavior maximizes this advantage. An anaconda in hunting mode can remain completely still for hours. We're not talking about being quiet. We're talking about absolute immobility. Not a single muscle contracts. Not a single scale moves. It simply freezes, becoming part of its surroundings. Studies using thermal tracking show that anacondas can lower their body temperature to match the temperature of the surrounding water, making them even more difficult to detect, even with infrared technology. When it needs to move, it does so with deliberate slowness. Each movement is calculated so as not to create waves, not to disturb the vegetation, not to alert anything around it at all. An anaconda can move 3 meters in 10 minutes without you noticing any movement if you look directly at it. There are reports of fishermen who spent hours in canoes, less than 2 meters from giant anacondas without ever noticing. Only when the snake decided to move, usually because it was disturbed, was its presence revealed. Biologists who study anacondas in the wild often use this expression, "You never see an anaconda. It allows you to see it." And that is absolutely true. Even with training, specialized equipment and knowledge of the habitats, finding an anaconda in the wild is extremely difficult. They choose ambush sites with surgical precision, river bends where the current slows, areas with dense vegetation where the light is filtered, spots where animals regularly come to drink water, and there they wait. Days, if necessary, weeks, it doesn't matter. Patience is their superpower. Do anacondas eat humans? That's probably the most frequently asked question about this snake, and the answer is complicated. Anaconda attacks on humans are extremely rare. Fatal attacks are even rarer. There are only a few documented and verified cases of people killed by anacondas in the last 100 years. To put that in perspective, you're more likely to be killed by a lightning strike than by an anaconda. But that doesn't mean attacks don't happen. They do, usually in specific situations. Fishermen who raid nests, people swimming in remote areas at night, young children unaccompanied near water, situations where the anaconda feels threatened or where it mistakes a human for natural prey. The reason humans aren't ideal prey lies in our anatomy. Our shoulders are too broad, our bone structure is complicated. For an anaconda, we're a difficult meal to process. It prefers prey with more cylindrical and uniform bodies. But giant anacondas, those over 7 meters long, may see humans differently, especially in water where our mobility is limited. There is a documented account of an 8-meter anaconda attacking a fisherman in the Amazon River in 2012. The man survived only because he had a knife and managed to wound the snake enough for it to let go. The indigenous peoples of the Amazon have a deep respect for anacondas. They do not hunt them unnecessarily. They do not swim in areas known to harbor large snakes. And they teach children from an early age, respect the water because the water has owners. There is also the myth of giant anacondas, stories of snakes 15-20 meters long. While it is true that anacondas can grow very large, verified scientific records show that the largest accurately measured specimen was 8 meters and 80 centimeters long and weighed 227 kilograms. But that doesn't mean larger snakes don't exist. The Amazon is vast. There are areas so remote that they have never been properly explored. Riverside communities report sightings of monstrous snakes. Gold miners tell stories of anacondas that require several men just to carry their skin. Science remains skeptical but open-minded. After all, new species are discovered in the Amazon every year. In 2024, researchers identified a new species of anaconda, the northern green anaconda, which may be even larger than the common species. Speaking of impressive sizes, let's look at the verified numbers. The largest anaconda ever captured and scientifically measured was found in Venezuela in 2024. It measured 8 meters and 88 centimeters in length, weighed 227 kilograms, and had a circumference of 91 centimeters at its thickest point. It was a female, because females are always larger than males. To give you an idea of the scale, imagine a snake longer than a city bus, weighing as much as 3 adult men, so thick that your hands couldn't encircle half of its body, and that's just what has been officially measured. Anacondas grow continuously throughout their lives. They don't stop at a specific size. The older they get, the bigger they become. The problem is that giant anacondas are extremely rare to find. They live in remote areas, are incredibly cautious, and when they reach monumental sizes, they basically become ghosts. There's also the issue of measurement. Measuring a live, angry anaconda isn't exactly easy. Many of the numbers you hear come from visual estimates, which are notoriously inaccurate. A 6-meter snake might appear 8 meters long when you're scared, but scientists have methods: GPS tracking, camera traps, analysis of skin sheds. And these methods confirm that anacondas over 7 meters long exist. They are just very rare. There is a $50,000 prize offered by a conservation organization for anyone who finds and helps measure an anaconda 9 meters or longer. So far, no one has won. But that doesn't mean they don't exist. The most fascinating stories come from riverside communities. An elder from the Rio Negro recounts seeing an anaconda so large that when it crossed a stream, its head was already on the opposite bank, while its tail was still emerging from the vegetation. He estimated it to be 12 meters long, but there was no way to measure it. Gold miners in Suriname photographed a shedskin in 2019 that, when stretched out, measured 10 meters and 40 centimeters. Shed skins are generally 10 to 15% larger than the real snake due to stretching. But even considering that, we would be talking about a 9-meter anaconda. The life of an anaconda begins in a way that few people know. They don't lay eggs like most snakes. They are ovoviviparous. The eggs develop inside the mother's body, and the offspring are born fully formed, alive and ready to hunt. A female can give birth to between 20 and 40 pups at a time. Each one is about 60 centimeters long at birth. And here's something fascinating. The mother doesn't care for them. As soon as they are born, the pups are on their own. The mortality rate among young anacondas is brutal. More than 80% die in their first year. They are hunted by alligators, birds of prey, jaguars, and even other larger anacondas. Only the smartest, fastest, and luckiest survive. Those that survive grow rapidly. An anaconda can grow 1 meter per year in its first years of life. By the time they reach 3 meters, they are formidable predators. At 5 meters, few animals in the Amazon can threaten them. Reproduction occurs during the dry season, generally between April and May. The mating ritual is one of nature's strangest spectacles. A single female can attract up to 12 males at the same time, all attempting to mate with her. What follows is called the mating ball. All the males coil around the female, creating a twisted mass of snakes that can last for weeks. They do not eat during this period. They only fight for position, trying to access the female's cloaca. The female chooses the winner, usually the strongest or largest male. After mating, the males leave, and the female remains alone throughout the gestation period, which lasts about 6 months. Anacondas can live between 20 and 30 years in the wild, some possibly longer. But determining the exact age is difficult. There are no growth rings like in trees. What we do know is that anacondas in captivity have lived for more than 40 years. Despite being an apex predator, the anaconda faces serious threats. Deforestation is the main problem. When the forest is cut down, the rivers dry up, the streams disappear, the wetlands are drained for agriculture, and the anaconda loses its habitat. Without water, there is no prey, no reproduction, no survival. Pollution also has an impact. Mercury used in gold mining contaminates rivers. Fish die, capybaras get sick. The entire food chain is compromised. And at the top of that chain is the anaconda, accumulating toxins in its body over the years. Hunting still occurs, although it is illegal in most Amazonian countries. Some communities kill anacondas out of fear, others for their skin, which is sold illegally. There are also cases of anacondas being killed simply for sport, as trophies of an absurd male conquest. But perhaps the greatest threat is ignorance. Many people see the anaconda only as a monster, something to be feared and eliminated. They don't understand its role in the ecosystem. Anacondas control populations of capybaras and other herbivores that, if left unchecked, can devastate aquatic vegetation. They maintain healthy alligator populations. They are indicators of environmental health. Where there are large anacondas, there are functional ecosystems. Conservation projects are attempting to change perceptions. Educational programs in riverside communities. Ecotourism focused on the safe observation of anacondas. Scientific studies that reveal the ecological importance of these snakes. In some places it's working. There are communities that now protect anacondas instead of killing them, that charge tourists to take them on safe observation expeditions, that understand that a live anaconda is worth more than a dead one. But the race is against time. The Amazon is changing rapidly, and the anaconda, which has survived unchanged for millions of years, may not have time to adapt to the changes we are causing in decades. The anaconda is not just a predator, it's an architect of ecosystems. When an anaconda hunts, it doesn't just kill prey, it influences the behavior of all the animals around it. Capybaras change their drinking patterns. Deer avoid certain areas. Waterfowl become more vigilant. The entire dynamic of the environment is reorganized around the presence of this snake. The bodies of prey that the anaconda cannot fully consume or abandons feed dozens of other species. Piranhas, small alligators, turtles, all benefit. The anaconda redistributes energy and nutrients throughout the aquatic ecosystem. There's also something poetic about it. The anaconda is an animal of extremes. Extremely patient, extremely powerful, extremely efficient. It represents evolutionary perfection, applied to a single purpose, surviving by dominating the interface between land and water. While the jaguar dominates the trees and the ground, while the harpy eagle dominates the sky, the anaconda dominates the waters. And in this division of territories, each one shapes the destiny of the other species. What if, deep within a remote creek where no scientist has ever been, there were an anaconda that would make all records seem insignificant? River dwellers along the upper Rio Negro speak of the mother of the waters, an anaconda so large it can knock down trees as it passes. That creates visible waves when it moves underwater, that already lived there when the grandparents of the elders were children. Scientists are skeptical, but they don't rule it out. The Amazon still holds secrets. Areas the size of entire countries remain unexplored. Rivers that appear only on old maps. Regions so remote that helicopters avoid flying over them. And perhaps it's better that way. Perhaps some mysteries should remain mysteries. Perhaps the world's largest anaconda should remain just a story told around riverside campfires. A legend that maintains respect for the forest and the creatures that inhabit it. Because the truth is, we don't need to measure the biggest anaconda to understand its importance. We don't need to capture it to respect it. We only need to recognize that we share this planet with extraordinary creatures. Creatures that existed long before us and deserve to exist long after. The anaconda is not a monster. It is a survivor, a predator that has achieved perfection through millions of years of evolution. A creature that reminds us that not everything in nature needs to be understood, controlled, or dominated. Sometimes you just need to be respected. And in the dark waters of the Amazon, where sunlight barely penetrates and the sounds of the forest echo differently, the silent giant continues its age-old work, hunting, surviving, dominating, waiting, always waiting. What aspect of the anaconda's life impressed you the most? The deadly embrace that suffocates without breaking bones, the ability to disappear even when 9 meters long. Or perhaps the possibility that even larger anacondas are hidden in the forest. Leave your answer in the comments. And if you had to choose between observing an anaconda, hunting from a safe distance, or never seeing one in real life, what would you choose? fear or fascination. Until the next video about the most insane facts that the animals of our planet can provide us.